Yeah, was good, wonderful family. Welcome, of course, to the Voices of the Motherland show. And of course, remember you are tuning to Black Hot Fire Network Media for the 21st century. I believe that everyone is definitely doing okay because it is all about having some positive manifestation towards you. Welcome, or rather, we say Karibu Sana to the Voices of the Motherland show. My name is Kami, and of course, the title of the show is The Voices of the Motherland Show. And remember, we also do have other episodes. Of course, I'm talking about the likes of the African Today show. We also do have the Express show coming right here on Black Hot Fire Network. Also, the African Today show, which will come just an hour from now. Of course, that is the African Today show that you get to enjoy. And of course, there is a lot of shows that you can get to enjoy when you are tuning to Black Hot Fire Network. And remember to log in at www.blackhotfirenetwork.com, and you can get to like and share the videos, and you can also proceed to support the stream at Cash App Mr. Black Hot Fire, and of course donate at www.blackhotfirenetwork. Once more, my name is Kami, and this is the Voices of the Motherland show coming live to you all the way from Nairobi. And even before I get to start the show, how has your week been? Let me know, how has your week been? Has your week been smooth, or your week has just been with challenges? Do you know there's just that those are types of days whereby you are like you're just waking up, you're all moody, you do have a tantrums, you do not want to interact with anyone, and at some point you're like, I think today's not my day. I rather keep quiet. I rather keep quiet before I get to indulge with other people who are over an interactive mind and get to ring their day. And of course, let us know how your day has been here on the Voices of the Motherland show. And also, you can proceed and get us to tell us your plans for the weekend, because we have come to the end of the week. Thanks be to that. Trust me, surviving 2020 has not been easy, and that is what I have been talking about, that surviving 2020 has really not been easy. For some of us, we have lost our beloved ones. Also, for the family, you might have lost your beloved one, your family, your properties, your business. Perhaps you might have borrowed a loan, but you are unable to still pay it, and of course things are not going okay. And that is why we have to tell ourselves that we need, irrespective of the situation, irrespective of the state that we always find ourselves in. Trust me, we of course that is part and parcel of what art has to offer for us. But remember, the other thing that you need to be doing is, of course, to be ensuring that you are staying positive for the same. Karibuni sana, and good afternoon. I believe right now it is afternoon in the diaspora. I would love to start the Voices of the Motherland show by this amazing proverb. It is a Togolese proverb, and it goes like this: a child does not laugh at the ugliness of its mother. Wow, that is catchy. Let me repeat this: a child does not laugh at the ugliness of its mother. Definitely correct. And of course, that brings us even to the topic of the day in regards with the issue of a child adoption in Africa. And of course, this Togolese proverb is quite amazing because it gets to speak on some of the facts. It gets, of course, to speak on some of the facts that do get to affect us. Remember, you are tuning into the Calm African Diary Show only on a Black Hot Fire Network. And of course, the topic of the day is in regards with a child adoption in Africa. And I do trust that everyone is quite faring okay because as I've said, 2020 has really not been easy. Let us know your views in terms of a child, of course, adoption, not only in Africa, but also this gets to happen in the diaspora also. Let us know your views in terms of that. But this is quite a touching topic, and that is what we always do here on the Voices of the Motherland show. We get to talk about things personal, let me use the terminology, personal things affecting us. That is what we always talk about in terms of, it could be in terms of relationships, it could be in terms of womanhood, just a lot of topics. Even the men are not left out in this. That is the agenda of the show, in that you get to fuse, breathe in, breathe out, and remove all that type of toxicity that is surrounding you. Let's take, of course, a short musical break, but when we will be back, we will get to that is a talk on the topic of the day in terms of a child adoption. It is becoming quite hectic, and some African countries have gone ahead and denied the citizens of the USA from adopting kids from their from, of course, their country. And of course, stick by as we will be coming back from the break, and we'll get to take a look as to why are these African countries denying the USA from child adoption. And also, at the same time, we are going to take a look at some of the African countries that are, of course, allowing people from the diaspora, people from different Western countries to come and adopt their kids. And of course, we'll also take a look at some of the challenges that this has been in the society. Of course, thank you, and stick by the Voices of the Motherland show only on a Black Hot Fire Network. Legendary my blessing on ever follow me. Goodness and mercy follow me every day. Everything when I touch for this life, anything when I want. She not my joy, she not what she I mean better. I mean you can do nothing, oh my God. The bad belly coming by them. I kind of call me up. I don't want to baby you. I don't need you. I don't need every day. Showers of blessing rain on me. Should I money when you want? I'll be on for oh yeah, time me up. Oh, I don't want to baby you. Happiness don't keep on the one. Prosperity is something I'm doing. I'm blessing money. Oh, I don't want to you. I should you where I go. Oh, wherever we go. Victory, we're not the finish. I need to tell me you. Look, you know go run out. No attention, no wala. To the all out there. Oh, what's it there? I'm sorry, don't say me. I don't have to be a champion. I don't want to be that is by the one and only Simi, all the way from Nigeria. And of course, every day is definitely a blessing. And of course, I'll keep talking about you having some positive manifestation with yourself, because trust me, out here nobody be wishing you good at all. People might be smiling at you, people might be telling you making you feel like they are there supporting your business, supporting in terms of your ideologies, in terms of different things, only for you to realize that they are there for your backbone. And of course, forgive me for that if I might be sounding too cautious in terms of whom to interact with. That is definitely correct, because right now I have witnessed, of course, some individuals who who have really sacrificed a lot, for them to ensure that maybe somebody gets to go to school, or maybe somebody gets to get this and this, and the person who has been helped on most occasions, they do not get to give back. And that is why we say in Swahili, tenda mema nenda zako. That is what we say in Swahili, that do good, of course, and go your own way, and do not expect that good in return. And of course, a good morning, I see at a big cheese, you've said nice. Good morning at of course, good afternoon actually at a big cheese. I do trust that you are doing okay. Feel free to interact with us on the Voices of the Motherland show in terms of the topic that we have for you today, in terms of the child adoption process. And of course, when we had taken a break earlier on, I had told you of some African countries that are against the child adoption, of course, a process. And of course, I'm talking about the one and only country, that is at Ethiopia. Ethiopia has banned the adoption of children by foreigners. And I can say this is a good act because the reason as to why they have banned that, it is because these adopted children, and of course I'm talking about from a gap of 1 to 3 years old on most occasions, these are the children who are adopted. They face abuse and neglect abroad. Correct. I'm supporting Ethiopia 100%, as much as, not that I'm against the individuals who want to adopt children. For some couples, they adopt children because maybe they're not capable of having one, and things like that, or just do want to expand their families. People, of course, have different reasons as to why they get to adopt a child. So I want to congratulate Ethiopia, because it is, in Ethiopia. Ethiopia is actually one of the biggest international adoptions by U.S. citizens. That is absolutely 20% of Ethiopia's children in the orphanage. They were adopted by the U.S. But Ethiopia right now has gone ahead and banned the adoption of children by foreigners. And I say once again, I go hand in hand with what Ethiopia is doing. And this reminds me back sometime in Kenya, whereby there was this charity organization being run by two couples. And what was happening is that it was in a remote place. What was happening is that these children were constantly raped, sodomized, some of them dying, and not given even a proper burial. Because of the death of course, their death raises eyebrows. Also, one thing that I want to comment on is that the chief in the village knew what was happening, but because it was Amzungu doing it, and this African chief was given bribes from time to time, he didn't raise the alarm until it was too late, until the people had enough is enough. And that is why, as much as I say that, opening a children's home, or rather opening an orphanage at some point, it is good, because it is one way of giving to the society. But these are children who maybe do not know the whereabouts of their parents, or these are children who found themselves there because of what they were constantly going through in their homes. Maybe the mom and the dad are fighting from time to time. There's no peace, or rather their house was demolished. They have nowhere else to go than rather be in the streets. And my point here is that, as much as I am for these kids being given help, there is a way they are treated, because the one who is helping them feels like it is a favor he or she is doing them. Feels like these kids can be mistreated anyhow. These kids can be done anything unto. And as much as I am a Muzungu and I'm in Africa, I'll just bribe my way around. In that orphanage, what was going through, remember, this is where you get to adopt a child. And you can imagine, as a parent, you do not know what was done to them, because some of them, they are afraid to open up to you, because they do not know you. For those who, of course, have already, matured a little bit, they do not know you. They do not know whom to trust. So these children have been severely raped. And what was happening in this orphanage is that girls in that orphanage, they were taken to a medical center whereby they were injected with pills to help them not get pregnant. This is happening in Africa. The chief of the area knows what is happening. The one who is administering the drugs knows what she or he was doing just because they were paid money. And also, one sad thing is that, when you get to die in Africa, let me just get to tell you a little bit. When you get to die in Africa, the first thing you do need to have a death certificate. Of course, I believe that also happens in the different European countries. And also, if it is in a local community, the area chief has to know and has to sign the document. You cannot be buried without the area chief knowing it. So he knew what was happening. This was the case of a young boy. Perhaps he was hit with a blunt object and he was buried. To the amazing Blackwood Five family, remember the topic of the day is in regards to child adoption in Africa. And of course, I have started the show with telling you some of the African countries that have denied the child adoption process because they have seen of how these children have been mistreated. And I'm talking about Ethiopia. And of course, we are about to take a short break and get to watch the video in regards to the child adoption. But first and foremost, here are some of the African countries that, of course, here are some of the African countries that have, allowed, that have, of course, allowed the child adoption process. And of course, during the show, we'll also be talking about, you'll also be talking about some of the countries. We'll also be talking about some of the countries, of course, in terms of the child adoption, some of the countries that have allowed for the child adoption process. Also, what I meant to say earlier on is that we'll be taking at a situation that is happening in Kenya. Forget about even child adoption itself. Now, babies are being stolen. You as a mom living on the streets because they know that there isn't anyone to fight for you. They'll come, induce you with jet fuel. The next thing you are forgetful. They get to do what they want. We'll also get to focus on that because it is a situation that is happening, has been happening in the country right now. And of course, more people, of course, have been arrested in. Let me tell you one, my own kid. How is it going to be? It's going to be traumatizing as hell. We do have countries like Uganda, Burundi, Congo, Ghana, and also Kenya. These are the countries that have opened to international adoption. So, of course, if you're coming from the diaspora and you really need to adopt a child from Africa, the countries you need, of course, to visit are the likes of Uganda, Burundi, Congo, Ghana, also Kenya, to name. And remember, I have talked about Ethiopia being against this, that our children are taken out of Africa for a different purpose. And perhaps you're wondering maybe the amount of money that is being paid. It is, of course, $20,000 and also up to $40,000. And of course, this includes home study, counseling, medical expenses, and foster care if needed. That is the situation in Africa. But of course, let's take a break as we get to watch this video in regards to the situation in terms of a child adoption in, of course, Africa before we get to continue with the show. Remember, you are tuning to the Voices of the Motherland show, and of course, this is coming right to you from the Black Hot Fire Network media for the 21st century. All right, so let's get to watch this. For example, this is the situation. This is the situation that is happening in Kenya in terms of the child adoption process. In that, People would rather not to take the legal way of adopting a child. People would rather do child trafficking, whereby your child is targeted. They know that the buyer wants this type and type of a child. So, of course, it is upon us to ensure that the mother, irrespective of what they'll go through, as much as how traumatizing, then they don't care as much as they get to have their pay. Let's take a look at what is happening in Kenya as we get to proceed with the show in terms of a child adoption. And like I've told you earlier on, some arrests are being made in terms of this because the culprits behind this, they have been arrested. Let's get to take a look at what is happening in the country.
Every year, hundreds of children disappear from the streets of Kenya. But who takes them and where they end up has always been a mystery. Until now. For over a year, Africa Eye has been investigating the underground trade in Kenyan children, going undercover to expose the networks that snatch babies from homeless mothers. That sell children to the highest bidder in underground clinics. And even in our most prestigious government hospitals. It is a trade that leaves trauma and devastation in its wake.
I've not slept since Thursday till now. I can't. Mwananchi kule mtoto wale na sijashindwa kuenda ndani kwa street. Alirudishia mbe wangu na acha kutuibia watoto.
It is the shame of our nation.
This business has to stop. It has to stop. Another one, you mean? They've all had.
My name is Jerry Mwangi. This is my family. We have been so blessed to have 3 amazing children.
I didn't thank you. Thank you. Having us that counts. I believe that.
Like women the world over, being a mother is the most important thing in my life. I would do anything for my children. The story I'm about to tell you is my worst nightmare. For years, an illegal black market in children has been operating in Kenya.
A series of abductions targeting children has rocked Nairobi recently, sending chills down the spines of many parents.
This underground trade offers desperate women a quick alternative to Kenya's complex adoption laws.
It is a business stripped of any human emotions. Babies here are just another trading commodity. They are casually equated to grains.
Police investigations revealed that the baby was shortly after being abducted, delivered to a separate woman who allegedly bought the baby for 25,000 bob.
It is a trade in human lives that preys on our most vulnerable women, leaving unimaginable trauma in its wake.
Police are calling on any person who might have lost a child to report at the flying school offices in Pangani.
Most importantly, do not let your child wander the streets unaccompanied.
For over a year, we have been investigating this secretive trade. The trade has led us from the slums of Nairobi to some of Kenya's most prestigious government hospitals. During our investigation, we've met countless women like Susan. Desperate mothers searching for their missing children, often for years after they were stolen. Susan is not alone. Her neighbor June understands her pain. Her child too was stolen by traffickers and has never been seen since. Susan has tried everything, reaching out to local media, the police.
Let me just get to explain this a little bit. It is quite disturbing on what is happening in Africa. Instead of course, people coming to terms and agreeing with one another. If I am giving up a child, or maybe if I'm acting as a surrogate mother, then we have to agree on that. So you can imagine the pain of a woman getting to bear the pains that is in terms of 9 months of bearing that pain, only for you to realize that the day you have given birth is the same day your child is missing. You can imagine the disturbing cries that will get to be, of course, torturing you from night and night. And of course, remember, to the amazing family, the topic of the day is in regard to the child adoption process, of course, both in the diaspora and also in Africa. And of course, I have also earlier on highlighted on some of the countries that have, of course, involved international adoption. I talked about the likes of Uganda, the likes of I've talked about, of course, the likes of Uganda, the likes of also Congo itself, Kenya. Also, I have got to mention that. And just to proceed with the show, remember it is all about the situation that is happening because it is crazy. There is the legal process of adopting. But people have realized that the legal process is quite expensive. And some people have realized that in terms of the legal process, because they do not want this to be tied to them, in terms of them ending up mistreating these kids, then they go ahead and get to indulge with child traffickers. And of course, for some people, they believe that this is all about some cult that is happening in the street, in that some children have, of course, they never, of course, they've never also been found, because every time I get to walk around, perhaps every time you also get to walk around the city, you get to realize that there are some posters of missing children. And sadly enough, some of these children do not get to return home, and some of them, they have found themselves in the hands of course, those individuals indulging in rituals like a child sacrifice, those indulging in rituals like pedophiles. So that is why they would rather wait for you to have that baby and get to steal it from you. And like I've told you, we do have those, of course, families that are living in the streets, and it's very disturbing. It is very sad, and of course, at a big cheese, I really get to, of course, I really get to I concur with you on that. That these women on the street, they are really, they are, of course, suffering a big deal in terms of them having their kids missing. And let me tell you one thing: the fact that someone is living in the streets does not mean that they are not able to take care of their kids. And of course, right now, investigations are ongoing. Right now, investigations are, of course, ongoing. But we just do believe that. That we just do believe that justice gets to take a place. And of course, like I've told you, we do have some African countries that, of course, that have gone international in terms of course, you adopting a child. And of course, in some countries it is easy, in some countries it is not quite easy. But of course, there are some things, like I've told you, in terms of adoption that they should get to adhere to, because some of these kids, they are emotionally strained. So you as a kid, because adoption is one way of selling someone indirectly, but then again, at some point you understand the situation. As a kid, you are traumatized. You're asking yourself, where are my parents at, or why did my parents sign me up for adoption? Because there are some parents, not that they have not been able to take care of their kids, but maybe because they do have a debt and things like that, and they choose that them giving away their kid is the only solution. Can you imagine if these kids get to survive the adoption and they're living with these foster parents, and comes back and knows where his or her home is, and comes back to look their parents in their eyes? Because I believe, as a kid, it is your right to get to enjoy, that is, you get to enjoy your time with your parent. Let me just proceed and get to share with the video as we get to proceed on the show. And remember, the topic is all about the child adoption process, of course, in Africa. And I've told you there is something which is going on in the black market in terms of the child adoption process. That right now, child trafficking is on the rise in Africa, especially Nairobi. And if you are a street family, then you risk, of course, losing your child anytime. Or if you're coming, from the slums, you risk to lose your child, which is not good. And of course, as we'll get to proceed with the show, we'll get to take a look at some of, some of the bodies that do get to cover children in Africa. And right now we do have a proposal that has been given in terms of putting those CCTVs, in terms of putting those trackers on children, of which I know that it is not going to happen, putting a tracker on each and every child. Only the rich children are the ones who are going to benefit from this. It is evident. Because take a look even at different vaccines, they always start from the rich. By the time they are reaching maybe the middle class, or the struggling class in the society, it will be too late, and a lot of children would have been stolen. Let us of course get to continue watching the video as we get to take a look at what is really happening in terms of a child adoption in Africa.
The women are in intense pain and need attention. Mary's business partner is called in to help. But she quickly returns to business.
So she was like, I want to sell you one of these babies.
Mary appears to have little concern for the mothers at her clinic. As soon as she has sold their children, she sends them back to the streets. Mary doesn't just sell babies. She also provides her clients with illegally obtained birth registration documents. It is a complete package.
So I was like, what are the procedures? Paperwork. And she was so much assuring me, like, we have our people, they will help you to register your child under your name, under your custody.
Mary claims to work with a network of corrupt officials, working in government hospitals and the local authorities. Once a child is sold, Mary's customers are provided with illegally obtained official documents which identify the buyer as the child's mother. The child's true identity is erased forever.
Birth certificate onyola today, wanyene tinanga tsibiri. Onyola notification la onyola zakate usafa wabula wanyandikirwa sa.
Mary promises to call Judith when the babies are born. I'm shocked to see that children are being sold so openly here in the heart of Nairobi. This evidence alone is enough to send Mary Auma to prison for up to 30 years.
Grammarly can help you write.
This is quite a crazy of the situation to which these mothers get to go through in terms of their survival. And I can tell you, it is quite depressing that one woman gets to do this to another woman, irrespective of listening to her, irrespective of getting to understand the pains that a mother can go through. And that is why today we are talking about the child adoption process, not only in Africa but also in the diaspora as well. And remember, this is one of the cover stories that was just done in Nairobi, which means that it could be more. I used to hear stories of women like going to hospital and coming back. Maybe the doctors get to exchange and they tell them they did have a still child. Whereas in the real process, the baby is stolen. At a Bombay Damfa, you say the greetings, Kami. Greetings to you too at a Bombay Damfa. I do believe that you are doing okay. Rosanna Silva official, I didn't get that, but welcome. And Bombay, you say that this is crazy. Absolutely. At a Keith, you have joined us. Hi, hello, Keith.
I am Rumi Dai from Zimbabwe.
How are you doing, Rumbi? How are you doing, Rumbi? How are the things in Zimbabwe?
my voice is kind of bad now, Cammy. Managua has been beating me, and I lost my voice. Well, the Rumbi. Anybody know what? Is Rumbi's power back off again? I know power went down last night. Is it?
Yeah.
Mike said to reach out to her. I couldn't reach out to her.
Okay. But I think they do have an issue with the power.
Yeah, I think her power is back out again. That's Zimbabwe. That Mugabe did a hell of a job. He did great.
Yeah,
people sit in the dark, all hot. I don't think Mugabe did a good job in Zimbabwe, Cammy.
He didn't do anything for the people in Zimbabwe. It was all about him and his wife doing designers.
Yeah, exactly. His wife getting Gucci handbags. My wife got Gucci. Well, President Mugabe, I'm in the dark all the time and I'm hot. My wife got the Gucci bag. Look at the bag. Look at the bag, you wretched Negroes.
Exactly.
Kind of shit is this? So are we talking about adoption in Africa? Well, I want to talk about adoption anyway. I don't believe white people should be able to adopt black children, especially white homosexuals.
Exactly. That is why Ethiopia is against international adoption. Ethiopia is, I think, amongst one of the African countries that has said no to international adoption.
Finally. Yeah, but finally they were abusing Ethiopian children when they were adopting them. They were adopting for slavery from Ethiopia. They'd bring them to America or Europe and have them as house slaves. That's another scam to do slavery. And thank God the Ethiopians finally realized that you don't just send your kid away to white people you don't know. It's like the African never learns. The white man is not your damn friend. Well, we're gonna get them out of poverty. We're gonna let white people adopt our children. And next you know they're in New York as a damn slave or in Switzerland as a fucking house slave. And no one has any papers of them. So a lot of times they were murdering these children because there were no really papers on them. So they didn't exist. Especially in America, they were murdering a lot of these black children that they were adopting from Ethiopia. So I don't agree with nobody adopted, not nobody white, adopting nobody black. When they adopt you, they're going to tell your culture, oh, you should be happy that you're with us. You was a little no good Negro, and you never had any culture. Your people lived in trees and shit. Is that true? My people live in trees?
Go
ahead.
That is definitely not correct. That is
my children grew in my people were in trees.
No. The dog houses are
And Cammy, you seen, pull up an image of
Mm.
what's that actor's name? Charlize Theron adopted those two black kids and got them wearing dresses, turned them into girls. Charlize Theron and her adopted African boy, a boy. She turned them
Uh,
into girls. Talking about yeah,
the American
Charlize.
actor.
No, she's South African. She's South African, Cammy. Charlize
Charlie,
Theron is a
I
South
think I'm
African
getting.
actress,
Mhm.
and her adopted African children that she's now got running around with dresses and shit on.
Okay, let me get that.
These little kids, she turned into homosexual. Yeah, it's CHARLIZE Theron. CHERIO.
You're breaking.
Charlize Theron. The
Uh,
images of her African adopted children.
let me share this. If they are the ones, let me just share this. If they are the same person. Is this the
Yeah,
person?
she's a white woman from Southern.
All right.
Let
Uh
me
huh.
see. Let me see. Miss Sharon. I can't. You gotta go to images. Go to images.
All right. Yes. Yeah. Here they are.
Yeah, that's her. Yeah, that's her no good ass.
Mhm.
That's the boy she turned into a woman. Charlize Theron. Yeah, that's her.
Yeah.
You got the little boy. Stuff.
Uh-huh.
You got the little boy parade around. You know, you gotta see.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hold on, y'all. Hold on.
Keith, can you hear me? To the amazing family, remember we are talking about the child adoption process, not only in Africa but in the diaspora at large. And earlier on, Keith Newsom was giving us his views in terms of it is not on the to-do list for you to give away your children. You have witnessed the pains that these mothers have gone through in terms of them waking up and only for them to realize that the children are missing. You have seen the situation whereby a lady is in labor, and I can just imagine how painful that is. A lady is in labor. She is not attended to, sorry, she is not attended to, because it is all about money. What they care is the money with the
Uh-oh, what happened? What happened to Cammy? Is just the Cammys in there go down? Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you guys can hear me. I think we lost Cammy in their show. Be able to get some support. Uh, Wait for it to come on back. Come on back, Cammy. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear me or not. All right, I'm still waiting for them to show back up. So let me know if you guys can hear me. Everybody's internet acting up today. Hmm. You guys hear me all right? Take that as a yes. But adoptions in Africa it wasn't my show. Came to give support because everybody's internet is out or acting up. Can't get in contact with room reside her. Power must still be out. No Maria over in Uganda. But I guess I'll say a few words about adoption in Africa when I'm not qualified to speak on it. But if you guys give me a minute, I can find out what's going on with them. All right, you guys. I don't know too much about these adoptions. And I think everybody's gone now, so shit. I'm gonna go and end this thing. I think everybody's probably gone by now. I'm trying to wait for these guys to come back. And so there'll be a no show on that. So I'm gonna wrap this thing down, family. I think everybody's gone by now. So I'm gonna wrap it down. Say come back on a little bit later on. Do the regular show. Much love to everybody. And I'm out. Peace.